All right. We've got Wayne Ward here with us today. Welcome, Wayne, to the podcast. We're excited to have you off-site, which we don't record podcasts off-site that often. It looks like Blake's off-site too. Are you going to be in camera? Are you going to come a little closer to Wayne? Is he going to bite?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. You seem like you're far away.
All right. Lucky you, Wayne.
I'm a bit nervous now.
Lucky you.
Hands above the desk.
All right, Blake, go on.
All right. First podcast you've ever been on?
I am a virgin podcaster.
Welcome.
Nervous? Thoughts?
No, not at all.
The only thing that makes you nervous is Blake being close to you.
Well, is that why you are so far back from the microphone as well? Nobody's gonna be able to hear anything you say if you keep sitting that far.
Do you need to turn it up? Is he good?
There you go. How's that?
That's great. Okay, so Wayne, we'd love to start off the podcast with all of our, especially with our new guests. We'd like to hear a little bit, just like your soccer story. Tell us where you came from, how you got into the game. Presumably you played at some level, and now you're coaching, and then kind of like your involvement in general.
Born in a town called Crewe in England, long time ago.
So that's got an E at the end, right?
CRUE.
CREWE.
Ooh.
About 50 miles south of Manchester. So.
Okay. Does that mean you're a United fan? Like that's your big team?
I am actually a Manchester City fan.
Oh, all right.
I studied in Manchester, did my engineering degree in Manchester, and at that time, to try and get a ticket for Manchester United was near on impossible because they were successful. Whereas Manchester City, if you turned up early enough, you were probably getting a game, right? It was really rough. And so as a student with no money, trying to get a ticket for a soccer match and going to Manchester City was the option.
So we went to their old stadium, which we didn't realize is in like a rough, or was, I should say, in a rough part of town, right?
Yeah, we lived close to the old stadium as part of being a student, right? So, main road, it was, Moss Side is a little bit rough, so.
So you played while you were there?
We played. As you grow up here, for Christmas you'll get a basketball or a baseball. Over there you get a soccer ball, and played from whenever I could start walking all the way through. High school's a little bit different, We don't quite have the same structure over there as we do here. Started playing adult soccer at 16 and played until I was 30 odd, and then come over to the States. Not for soccer, for my other job, my day job. And
they didn't invite you over when you were 30 to be a pro?
No. No. And then I have 4 sons, and they started, obviously they were going to play soccer, whether they liked it or not, they were going to play. And just started coaching them.
Hold on, and so you came to America, where'd you end up at?
When we first came over, we moved to DeKalb, Illinois.
Oh, Northern Illinois.
Yeah, Northern Illinois, near there.
Old Region 2.
Yeah.
ODP. I know DeKalb from the stop there, right? Like you can, like if you're driving to Chicago.
The Oasis.
Yeah, there's a great, the Oasis rest stop, yeah.
We moved over there, and then the company that I worked for decided to move production to Jackson, Minnesota. So we moved to Spirit Lake, Iowa. Then.
Oh, wow.
I know, which is just over the border. So I met, and I know there is a friend of the podcast, Ben McRae.
Oh yeah, absolutely friend of the pod.
I met Ben, and that's when we decided to come up with NWIFC, as it was then.
Northwest Iowa Football Club. Okay.
Yeah.
That's one we've never heard of.
Oh, that's good.
I think he's changed it from then football to soccer club, I think, just because there was an uproar and they were about to, I think, hang him in Spencer, Iowa for using the term football in the wrong manner.
Now, where's Jackson, Minnesota? Is it southern Minnesota? Is it sort of close to Storm Lake?
It was 18, it was like 18 to 20 miles to work, just right across the border. So anyway, started up that, helped him out coaching there, and then moved from there to the Quad Cities.
What can you say what company it is that you work with?
CSC.
What's CSC stand for?
Sears.
Sears, sorry.
Yeah, as in, we don't do washing machines. It's Sears and Roebuck.
Oh no!
R.I.P. Sears, right? Are they around anymore?
What's that?
Is Sears around anymore?
No, I think they. Yeah.
That's what I thought. They're R.I.P. Yeah.
Okay. So they make seats for John Deere, Caterpillar, all the big companies, Mack trucks, and so.
As you're an engineer, does that mean you design seats?
That means I manage people who design seats.
Gotcha. Smart.
Yeah, I manage other people.
So many different ways to make money out there.
So I coach them.
So the segue, we love a good segue, is coaching. So how did you get into coaching? It couldn't have been just because you were such a good engineer that you felt like you needed to take your coaching skills elsewhere.
Not at all. I have 4 boys that all play soccer, and so just being a good dad coach at that moment in time, right?
4 boys, your poor wife.
She has. She's pretty laid back, pretty relaxed. My mother says she has the right temperament for boys, right? So we did have a lot of broken windows and a lot of holes in drywall and.
Oh my gosh, I bet.
But it was no problem. So I got into coaching them, and then it sort of trickled on from there. I still have one still at high school at PV, Evan, and he's my youngest.
Which son do you love the most?
That's a great question. It depends who doesn't call me for money.
Oh,
boys,
it fluctuates.
So at this moment in time, it's the eldest. But he's still, he still calls me for money. So,
so what's the range on these boys?
Owen is 24.
Okay.
Isaac is 22. Reese is 19, and Evan's 17.
And where's Reese at? Where'd he end up?
He went to St. Cloud with Mr. Holmes.
Oh, love it. How's he enjoying it up there? It's probably a little chilly.
Yeah, he does. He likes it. He had a good first season, good freshman season. I think Sean's still building the program, right? Yeah. And so it's...
starting from scratch is a whole different deal.
Oh, boy.
Well, I mean, that's perfect. Right? This will figure out if I'm either putting my foot in my mouth or not.
Good. I'm pretty sure you are, but this will be good.
Were you the first PV boys coach?
Was I?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, we never heard three.
But this was the thing. We were talking about Pleasant Valley, and I was like, gosh. Somebody was like, "Oh, Pleasant Valley they must have just recently existed." I'm pretty sure this was Blake, and I was like, "Well, I played against them in high school. It was like one of my first high school games ever was against PV, my first goal." And but I'm 38, so that was 20 plus years ago. Almost, good Lord, almost 25 years ago. And we did the research. Pleasant Valley came into existence in like 1963. It's been around, so you couldn't be the first.
No.
Hope not.
No.
So go ahead, Blake.
I'm old, but not that old.
No.
Yeah, okay. No, you guys came to relevance then a few years ago.
When was the last time you guys were actually good? Because we beat you guys 7-0 my first game.
I don't know. I can't answer that.
How long have you been there, I should say?
I've been there for 6 years on the boys.
Okay.
This is my 6th year, but it's been going way before that.
You guys, you never made the state tournament?
The very first state tournament we went to was 2021 that we won.
Wow.
And the second state tournament we went to was 2022.
So plus
you won.
Undefeated the state tournament.
Never lost a game.
And not conceded a goal as yet.
I like that.
So it was a very new experience for everybody.
That's really exciting. But PV's like a fairly large school overall, right?
I was just looking at school sizes.
Yeah, because of the expansion.
Now they've split them to 4A. Mm-hmm. They've got four classes. Previously, I think Bettendorf was sort of 17th, 18th, and PV was 28th in the state.
Sure.
Now, looking at school sizes, PV is 17th and Bettendorf is 20th.
Wow.
I think behind Warkey, and I don't know for sure, but behind Warkey, the second fastest growing school district in Iowa.
I'd believe that.
So, but there's houses being built all over the place, all around by the TBK, that's just adding to the numbers.
So did you get a chance to coach the first boy? I'm trying to do the math on that. If he's 24, did you coach him in high school?
I didn't coach Owen. No? I got Isaac for 2 years prior to COVID. But yeah.
And you coach club as well?
Not anymore. I did a BSA, and then
That's Bettendorf, not VSA. Bettendorf soccer. Yeah, okay.
And then at Sport in Iowa with Paul, I coached there for a little while, but yeah.
What do you think about the class switch? It doesn't really affect you guys, but just in general for Iowa high school soccer.
I don't know. I assume it means that more teams are able to go and have the experience of going to state. And
that seems like the main thing, and like more accolades.
Yeah, and that's great, right? I mean, that whole experience, the whole, winning your sub-state and getting on the bus, and all that is fantastic. And the more kids that can experience that and have that memory, I think the better it is.
Yeah, we just don't know. Like, we're just curious. Like, that's clearly more programs are forming, which that means, right? I think in Hope, which is good. That means soccer is growing.
And this is unrelated to Pleasant Valley, but I'm interested to see what it does to the 3A class, like the one just below, because there's all these sort of like bigger teams that have bumped down, so it makes that whole class so much more competitive in theory. I guess we'll see, won't we?
I mean, there's going to be winners and losers, right?
Yeah, of course, right.
If you looked where the demarcation line is, if you were, I just went down, I just went up, then there's going to be winners and losers always, I'm sure.
Indeed. Okay, so what I really want to know, so we've watched you play, now your teams play the past 2 years. We've never seen you guys play before. It seems like you have a particular style of play. It's one that I personally admire and respect. It's one that I like. But I'm just be curious, like, kind of talk a little bit about the way you make your teams play, because it seems like there's a very intentional. It's not just like you're like, let's go play. You're not just throwing the ball out there. Oh, you are? You're not even going to talk about. Are you going to do?
Oh, you're Carlos Jr. Carlos Jr. Here we go.
No, I mean, let me sort of start back. Let me.
Here's a plug for the YouTube.
No,
like you could
just
just Wayne's like, oh yeah, this is good.
Let's go back. So, it really all starts pre-season, right? It really all starts on creating the relationship between coaching staff and the players, being very deliberate on what we're trying to achieve as a program.
How many kids come out to the program?
I bet this year we'll have 60, 65.
Which is good, high, low. How's that compared to the last 6 years?
It's growing.
Everybody wants to come win a state title.
Well, and I think just the size of the school. We graduate 11, and I think this year we're going to see 19 freshmen. So it's just going to be a knock-on effect, right? To be honest, I don't have a style. I'll be honest with you. You saw the last two. If you only seen us at state, and because the types of players the players that we had rarely changed between them two teams, right? We were pretty consistent. This year we're going to look different. So I don't have a Wayne Ward style of play, a PV style of play. I'm more
so you're totally you're messing with me here.
No, I'm not messing with you.
It's not that you. Okay, so to me, your style. How about I'll answer your question.
Well, your clearly style, you. I mean, sorry, Ben, but he clearly.
He sets his team up
depending on his players.
Yeah, but he sets his team up to win.
But it depends who his players are.
Correct, but your goal is.
That's what I'm trying to tell him.
Yeah,
correct.
I know.
No.
He won't listen.
He won't.
No, but you set your team up to win. So like based on your players, you're gonna have a different style of team this year.
For sure.
Which is what that was the compliment.
Yeah.
You can take it if you want, but it's simply that like you figure out what you've got, and like your teams that won. Would you say like? What I would say is that you had a strong goalkeeper. You had like the ability to hit teams on the counter, but like for the most part, you were just difficult to break down. You were tough to play against, and you just didn't lose. Like that was you're like, we're just not going to lose. Like that's it. That seemed to me what it was.
I mean, number one is.
Go ahead, Blake.
No, keep going. No, finish his answer. I got a good one.
If you don't concede, you can't lose.
Correct.
I know it sounds really obvious, right? And without trying to be Arsenal winning 1-0 and so on and so
forth.
Yeah.
That's not cheeky. That's just like that's the reality.
If you don't concede and you defend to the best of your ability and have a pride in not conceding, right? Everybody has a pride in scoring, and we score 3 goals, but trying to create a pride in defending and not conceding.
So you're making my point too, because that's the other part I like about you. I didn't tell you that yet, though.
Trying to put a pride in that. I mean, we were 2 years ago. We had Gabe in goal, and he was fantastic, and we had Jack Kilstrom this time, and both of them demanded from the defense, the midfield, that we're not going to concede a goal, and so that's number one, right?
Yeah.
Setting ourselves up, defending in the right way, defending as a team is important. My sessions through the year, through the season, will start off from the back going forward, and if we tie game 0-0 early on in the season, then so be it. But if we're defending right and we're defending as a team, then the rest is, everybody enjoys the scoring of the goals, and that'll come later. Even though you could argue that's the hardest part of the game, is to score a goal.
You guys got scored on 5 times, I think, against Waukee at the Iowa City Cedar Rapids tournament. You got battered, correct?
Last year.
3-0. Okay. Seemed like 5. Yeah, it was a few. So anyways, what we've been given some insight. What was the message after that game when you guys just got battered, you got bullied, to the group that like you've clearly fixed it in 6 weeks later to play in the final against them?
My memory serves me right. We were playing a different formation that day.
So that's the reason.
Not on purpose. We were tinkering with systems to try and find the best, and obviously
a little gamesmanship.
And obviously that was not the best, right? And so that proved to us that it wasn't quite right.
So how do you go into the state final after losing to those, like you guys, right? Like, what's the message to your boys? Like, hey, we played this team a month ago, 6 weeks, whatever it was. We got to play them again for the biggest game of the year. What's the message to them? Because they clearly remember it.
Yeah, we never talked about it.
So that's the message then, okay.
Yeah, we never talked about, hey, we played them 4 or 5 weeks ago. We never even talked about it. I mean, we were pretty confident that they were going to play the same way as they did when we played them, and we played a little bit differently.
That makes sense.
That's great. Just like the tactical changes and adjustments one way or the other.
And I've coached against Carlos many times. We have sons of a similar age, and we used to coach against each other, and it's always fun coaching against Carlos. I mean, he does, and him and his assistants, they got some soccer brain power on that side, right? And so they were doing some things in the final that we didn't like, and so we had to change it as we went on, and I think you guys noticed most of them. Most of them.
No, so I want to talk about the defining moment in the state final last year. To me, is in the penalty shootout, and it's like.
So give a quick breakdown, Brackett, really quick. Like go back.
So great. So in this game specifically, right? So
give
like,
people
it's
that
like
didn't see it.
It's a back and forth 0-0 game though. Like there were chances, and both goalkeepers were on display. Like they were the two best players, probably, or the most high performing players on the field. And the Waukee Northwest goalkeeper in particular was pretty like fired up and like chirping, and like I mean, you could just tell he was riled. And so in the shootout, once we get all the way there, he ends up taking the fifth penalty. Right? Or the third.
First.
The first. That's right. Which is even worse. But so I'm just so curious. Like, I haven't gotten a chance to ask Carlos this, and we'll see if Carlos is listening to the pod or not, because we'll get a conversation if he is. But I'm just curious, like, how does that, from your standpoint, like, what were you guys thinking when you see the goalie come out, who you know is just like, he's fired up. Like, he's either going to bury it in the top corner, right, or he's going to do what he did.
For me, we didn't have a game plan on who was going to take.
Yeah, how do you do that?
You didn't prepare for that?
We took PKs. You have to take PKs,
sure,
right, in practice.
But you didn't have like a set lineup.
Nope. We sort of knew who wasn't going to take them. For me personally, I ask them who wants to take a PK.
Because it's on the day too for some guys.
Some of them on the day might be going. You might watch them in practice and they're banging them in all day long, and then at that point in time,
just not feeling it.
I just don't want to take one.
They just run.
The situation's too big,
Which was
or there's
awesome.
some kid who's just like, yeah, sure, I haven't played that much, but like I'm ready to go. Like I'm gonna absolutely bury it, and like those kids exist too.
I assume without being on.
I assume that
bench,
too.
I assume the goalkeeper, as confident as he is, said, "I want to take it, and I want to take the first one." And I want to say whether the outcome is what it is. Credit to the boy, right?
Yeah, he had some big ones there to do that.
You could argue the biggest stage of his life. He's senior. He's going to be finished, and credit to him standing up and.
Awesome crowd, awesome environment. Yeah. So Kihlstrom didn't want to take a penalty.
He wasn't even asked.
He's one of those that didn't get in.
So here's the ultimate difference: is that he wasn't up for it. Like he wasn't allowed.
We didn't even talk to him.
Yeah,
he knew.
We didn't even give him an option, right?
Well, we always love to talk about penalty shootouts here. Have you ever asked Blake about his last penalty he ever took?
No, but I will now.
Yeah. End of my college career, we lost.
Poor Blake missed.
Yeah, our goalkeeper didn't save one though. So.
I loved it. There's very few things I can actually give Blake like an actual hard time about. Yeah. So that's one of them.
I missed, and our goalkeeper didn't save one. There you go.
I was going to say.
I can't think of. I mean, PKs. It's a great way to win, but an awful way to lose.
It's
right?
such a tough way to lose.
It's so heartbreaking. You've played I don't know what we played. 80,
2 hours basically.
I mean, basically an hour and a half of soccer, and it comes down to somebody slipping, a goalkeeper guessing the right way.
Did you ever have to take penalties as a player?
No. I was not.
He was on the do not.
He was on the do not.
I was a little bit more, if you wanted to term it, a bit more of a destroyer when it comes to
hard man.
Right?
Yeah,
a little bit more. So
give us a little insight on what PV is going to look like. Then you've had open gyms this spring. Nobody listens to this podcast, so give us some insight.
We're gonna inexperienced.
We're gonna have some new players, and we're gonna have
inexperienced. I mean, we have to remember probably from the State Cup players or that varsity group last year. Maybe 4 you could really count have had good minutes, right? And so we're going to be inexperienced, young. We're going to be quicker. We've got some players with pace, which is a bit different than how we were last year.
Okay, you guys weren't fast.
We didn't have a lot of pace.
No.
Big, strong though, disciplined.
We're
not fast.
We're going to be smaller. My wife says that we must be growing them smaller in Iowa because everybody looks small. That's what she said.
Well, your boy Reese, I mean, he was a monster.
Yeah, we had some. And before that, the year before that, Jack Romer was. I mean, he was just. Somebody asked me if he drove the bus there. I mean, he was just a man.
Yeah,
right?
that's hilarious.
And I think we'll be smaller, but yeah, we'll be all right. Man. We'll be good.
Can we ask him about the question about the prediction yet or not?
I think so.
Okay, prediction. PV Spartans.
It's still a little early, but we're gonna go talk about other things. So Blake loves a prediction, right? Okay. He just wants to know. So like we had
Give us a prediction
for the the Central Iowa coaches mostly that we're having on our roundtable, and he loves to get a prediction out of them. He's like, where are the Pleasant Valley Spartans going to be come June?
Well, I don't think you've aired that podcast yet.
No, we haven't aired it yet. No, so
it's been recorded.
What was the prediction?
Well, they were all over. Every coach got to answer. So there were several.
So that's why
answers.
we're asking you. Like, where's PV going to be?
My favorite answer was from the North coach, who said that they were going to. He said they were going to win the conference title because that was actually realistic. Everybody else kind of goes like, well, I hope we'll be county. But maybe that's your answer.
How confident are you?
My goal is to get on the bus and come to state.
Okay,
that's my goal.
That's
if I
okay.
Put a goal
Good.
Out there, whether we win the MAC or whether we go undefeated or whether
get out of your sub-state, get on the bus.
We need. If we get on the bus, then we've been. The rest after that, we're playing with house money. I mean,
even if you're the favorite team, you're technically probably. You should think of it that way, that you're playing.
Well, we've been to the state tournament twice, ranked at number 6.
Yeah.
And it's just 2 turns up on the.
You guys were the first year. You were the 8th seed, weren't you?
No.
6. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we were 6 at first.
And then last year you were 6 as well.
Yeah.
Wayne, well, let's see if they.
Yeah.
Lucky number 6.
Don't say 6.
Yeah, I know. That's what we both love.
No, you were really fun to talk to at the half times because we would just pop up and like stick a microphone in your face.
So this is a good story. We've never met you before.
Yeah,
we're like, this will be interesting. Like,
so you've done well though. You just dealt with it, and it's good.
It's. I think you asked me something at halftime in the final, and I give Brian Duax a.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you gave him a shout out. Yeah.
He said that he called you and told you how to play against him.
Which, for the record, he didn't. So I
didn't. I was also like sitting there going like, I can't imagine Brian calling you and being like, all right, I'm so mad. I'm going to give you all the answers because he would just been too mad to do it.
I know his brother works for me in the same company, so that's my relationship with Brian.
Oh, that's funny.
So. And I don't want to get Carlos mad. He did not call me. Brian Duax did not. So.
Well, we had Brian mic'd up for the Waukee Centennial game.
You're just giving away all our secrets, aren't you? So, one thing I was kind of curious about. So you've been coaching now. You said at PV for 6 years, and you've coached. Not your oldest, but the others, and then you're going to coach hopefully the next one coming up. What's that like? And like, just tell me a little bit about what it's like to have kids that play, especially when you know what you're talking about. Because I don't have kids, just for the record.
Yeah, we we have a rule in the house. We try really hard. I explained to him at 6:59, I'm your dad. You want to talk about dad stuff? We talk about dad stuff. At 7 o'clock, I'm your coach, and you're going to be treated like all the others. Probably realistically,
a little harsher,
harsher, right? Because we talk about that. There's an onus and an expectation. You are the coach's son, irrespective of what we talk about. You are the coach's son, and so there's an expectation that you work hard and onwards and onwards, right? And then 8:30, still the coach. 8:31, when practice is over, back to being a dad. Don't talk about it. We don't,
So they're never like quiet rides home or anything like that?
They drive on their own.
Really?
Yeah, we drive separate.
That's smart.
Yeah.
What about when they're young? You don't coach them when they're younger?
Yeah, when they were younger. But we don't.
Well, that's different then, I guess, right? Because there's like, your 10-year-old kid's not going to get in and like be like, hey, let's talk about training, Dad. But like your 16-year-old kid might.
You've got to. If not, it just festers, right? You got to. As sometimes don't get me wrong, I was frustrated with when they're 10 and 11 and they're goofing off and get in the car, close the door, turn the radio up, and just leave it all there, because if you don't, then ultimately they don't want you to coach them, right? So I've been very fortunate being involved in all 4 of my boys and having a common love for a game. Yeah. So I don't want to.
Are they City fans too?
They've been taken to the Etihad Stadium, whether they wanted to or not. They got taken. So, and also they got taken to see Crew Alexander.
Oh, that's so awesome. Okay. So Crew Alexander, I've heard of.
Yeah, that's why I said it's within E. Like I've seen the word before, and you couldn't spell though, could you?
I couldn't.
No.
So your youngest is a sophomore?
He's a junior.
Junior. Yeah. Okay. So in 5 years.
3 years.
Just. Okay, let me finish the question. In 5 years, are you still going to be the coach at PV?
That's why I said 3.
That's a big question.
I know.
To ask. I know. My wife's phone number is 562.
Is your wife British as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got wow. So the boys all have a little bit of a problem with their A's as well?
No.
I bet Reese has.
They saying like cool man and that's neat dude.
I bet Reese has a fake accent up in St. Cloud sometimes.
Occasionally.
Yeah. Occasionally. Depends who he's talking to.
Yeah. So Owen.
Can they do a good impression?
My oldest and my second one, they were 4 and 2 when they come over, so they're English. And then,
sure.
And then Reese and Evan were born over here. I think apparently they wish they had an accent. I don't know why, because it's an affliction. You try and go through a drive-through and get a bottle of water and a Mountain Dew. You ask for that, and you've just held the line up, man. It's just a nightmare, right? So
that's funny. Yeah. I never thought of it like that.
We speak the same language, but it's
not. Yeah,
hard. Water's terrible.
Water.
I know. So.
Do the boys have a good English accent that they do?
No.
They can't.
No.
Can you do an American accent?
Somebody asked them. They said, "Do you hear your dad's accent? Do you hear your mum and dad's accent?" And they said no. They said we don't hear it. It's just how.
That's because they don't listen to their mom and dad.
That's exactly
right. But they said they don't hear it.
Can you give us an American accent?
No.
I want a cheeseburger and fries.
No. I do.
There you go.
It has to be. So after the 3rd time of asking for a water, I have to go water. I think that's how you say it, right? I think so. That's as far as it goes.
Oh, that's so good. Okay, what do you got, Blake?
I only got one left.
Okay, fire it off.
Who is the best? So we talked about earlier about what son you love the most. Yeah. Best player
you've ever coached, or what, ever?
I mean, I was going son.
Like Ronaldo phenomenon?
I was going son. Like, who's the best?
Who's the best player? You guys...
Yeah,
how about give us your 5-a-side team? Where's everybody playing in your 5-a-side team?
There you go. So there's 5 of you.
5 boys. Okay. Where are you playing?
4 boys.
Well,
you
I'm
5.
Have to go in goal, seeing though I'm a little bit older.
So how about the prime? So in your prime, and everybody's prime, whether some of your sons have been there, maybe some are older.
Okay.
Presumed prime.
Yeah.
Presumed prime. The best goalie would be Reese. He would be if you're
also scored in the state final a couple years ago.
Best goalie would be Reese, and the reason being is his 2 older brothers used to make him stand in goal and whack the ball at him, so he.
That actually tracks.
Yeah.
So he's the goalkeeper.
I would have to play at the back. If I stay on the field, I'll stay at the back.
Reese, by the way, you've just been demoted.
Evan and Isaac, very similar, fast feet. Them two will be my midfielders. And then when Owen used to play, my eldest, he was a bit of a goal scorer. He would play up front, so that'd be my five-a-side. So unfortunately, Reese, you're in goal.
There's probably not many Iowan families that can best the boys from Pleasant Valley, can they? That'd be
that might be like the soccer.
That might be the
five-a-side.
ultimate five-a-side family.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Okay, and so then just because you didn't have the benefit of joining us on the pod for the roundtable, no, it's totally understandable. But give us just you gave us a prediction for your squad. Talk about just like who are the best players in the state that you're looking forward to see play that don't play for Pleasant Valley.
Well,
we don't have a lot of East.
If I don't know a lot of names, so I'll reel off some names that I don't really want to see him playing.
Yeah, sure, understood.
Because that means I'm playing against him, right? I mean, Cole
Schragi, with Northwest.
He's special, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we had to change our defense a little bit to look after him. So he's going to be a danger. I know Brian Durax has got some boys at Anthony.
What about on the east side of the state?
Chase Wakefield.
Who's
Bettendorf?
that?
Yeah, Bettendorf boy. He runs way too much than he should.
Is he related to Jeff Wakefield?
No idea.
Oh, Jeff Wakeland, maybe not,
crap.
But
Oh man,
but outside
so
of the
close.
state, Chase is special. I mean, and the reason because he just covers so much ground and trying to find out where he is and make
Who's he play for?
He's a Bettendorf.
Bettendorf, okay.
I can't remember the boy up front for Iowa City High. The African boy. He was injured when we actually played them.
Yeah.
And then Michael Nelson.
Yeah.
Iowa City West, right?
Sure.
Yeah, he was a junior last year and
Scored a bunch of goals and then got
we
shut down in the state tournament, if I recall.
We were scared to death of him, right?
Yeah.
So we talked a lot about Michael, and so he's going to be another one that's going to be special.
Yeah.
Right?
It's always nice to hear a little bit on the east side of the state. Well, I guess overall, we just
It
Myers.
took so long to get together.
Yeah, I know. Myers from afar.
I felt so bad. I really looked at the the interview and you complaining that I think who was it? Somebody said he needed to get on the bus because he needed to get home for a drink. But look at him, he's still over there. That's what it was. I don't know who said that. So I felt awful. But hey, we got it together.
No, that's great. We really appreciate you taking the time. Myers from afar and now friends in real life.
Sure, yeah.
And we'll see you hopefully after you've gotten off the bus in
Yeah.
June.
Yeah, you got it, man.
Thanks, Wayne.
Yeah,
Thanks
thanks a lot.